What are some other skills and traits that you think that people need, especially in today's environment with the landscape changing as quickly as it is?
For sure. So a lot of business leaders feel like we're in the midst of this pandemic now. That's when we're recording this, okay,
Hmm.
in mid 2020. And there are a lot of leaders out there who feel like the pandemic is the problem. And my perspective is a little different than that. I don't believe the pandemic is the problem for businesses. The problem is that we are not able to respond appropriately to the velocity of change. Now, the pandemic is illustrating this to us very starkly, but the problem is you can't respond quickly enough to the velocity of change. And if you reframe the issue to the velocity of change, some things begin to open up that you can deal with. That if you're trying to focus on responding to a pandemic as a business leader, it's not as clear what you have to do. And so I've created a series of guiding principles and mental models that I've been using with my clients over the last 7 or 8 weeks with great effect. And if you'd like, I'd be happy to share a couple of them with you.
Yeah, please do.
Now, the guiding principles are about behavior, they're leadership behaviors, and the mental models are how we think. Okay, so one is action focused, the other is how we think. Um, and I'm actually going to start with the action first. And the reason is that we're in a mode where the velocity of change is so great that you've got to have action behaviors hardwired to be able to act very, very quickly if something happens, and then think after the fact, okay, now what are we going to do to move forward? And this happened to a number of my clients who saw the pandemic coming. They were seeing what was happening, and they had to act very, very quickly before they could put all the thinking in place. For example, I have a client that at the end of February, which is pretty early in the scheme of this thing, made a decision to buy 1,000 laptops in anticipation of taking every one of their employees and having them be remote.
Wow.
Okay. Now, he didn't have the whole plan. Okay. But he made the decision to do it. And that's powerful. I have another client that is a restaurant that literally ended a restaurant, multi-unit restaurant chain in urban areas. And overnight, they had to make the decision to completely shut down. And they acted on it. But it wasn't the full-blown thought process of where does this lead us and then how do we get out of this? It was, we just got to do this right now. So the guiding principles that I want to share with your listeners there's three of them. The first is be agile. Okay, you have to be agile. And agility is about being able to be responsive and adaptive and a shapeshifter, okay, to respond to what's happening in front of you. And that's what agility is all about.